With the college season over, let's react to a new 2024 NBA mock draft with CBS Sports' newest mock. So we react to mocks from The Ringer, ESPN, Bleacher Report, The Athletic, and today we're taking our talents to CBSSports.com. With this mock coming from Kyle Boone of CBS Sports, it's titled 2024 NBA Mock Draft, NCAA Champion UConn puts 3 into the first round, joined by Zach Edey. Like always, if you guys do enjoy me reacting to other people's mocks, let me know by dropping a thumbs up and let me know in the comments any other mocks I should react to. I also react to some other mocks over on my podcast, Just Ball, and link to that is in the description. And like always, I will leave a link to the article in the description below. So with the number 1 overall pick, Zachary Risachet to the Detroit Pistons. I think it will come at some debate if Detroit lands number 1. I don't think they're an ideal fit for a prototypical big man like an Alex Sarr or a Donovan Clingan. So I think they should go somebody that can maybe play the 3, play the 4, off ball from their primary ball handlers in Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. And Risachet fits that mold. He's losing a little bit of his number 1 pick hype, but I do think he can re-enter that conversation if Detroit lands the number 1 overall pick. And he did not finish well to his season over in France. He struggled to shoot the ball and show that upside that he could be as a stretch 4. So if Detroit lands the number 1 overall pick and they don't love the fit of Sarr next to Duren or Clingan next to Duren, who's getting a ton of number 1 pick hype, they could go Stephon Castle as well. For his defensive ability, he could be an all defensive caliber wing, but there are questions about his jumper. So there will be some debate. I do think Detroit could maybe trade down if they ended up with the number 1 pick. So at number 2, Washington is going to get Rob Dillingham. I don't know if I like that. I think if Washington is there at 2 and Alex Sarr does not go number 1, they got to go Sarr, right? Because I don't know how Dillingham is going to fit on this team specifically with all the wings that they have, that they're going to prioritize their development, right? Denny, Bilal Coulibaly. They moved Daniel Gafford. I think Sarr could come in right away and help out their defense. Dillingham is not helping out their defense right away. He's going to be more of like a microwave scorer off the bench. He's going to be one of the best shooters in the class. Like, it's him and Jared McCain, in my opinion. I just don't like the fit in Washington. I think they have way more problems they need to address on the defensive end of the floor. And I think Sarr, or even if you like Clingan a little bit more, can come in right away and be that rim protector, somebody that they need here at number 2. Number 3, Alex Sarr to the San Antonio Spurs. All right, yes. If Sarr's making it to 3, let's pair him up with Wemby, because if Sarr could actually develop a jumper in this league, that would be such a fun addition of having Sarr and Wemby play together. We saw that Wemby, though, was definitely better utilized at the 5 rather than the 4. So I think like Sarr could play off of Wemby. They're both good ball handlers for their size, and this would be a ton of fun. Like, as a fan, I would love this, and just to see how this can play out. I love the idea of Stephon Castle at 3 if Sarr does go number 2 to Washington. So, I mean, yeah, I'm a fan of Sarr to the Spurs at 3. If this was the actual draft, I don't think Sarr makes it to 3. I think a team could maybe try to trade up to pass the Spurs to take Sarr, because I don't think he's going to go after Risachet and Dillingham. Number 4, we got Reed Sheppard to the Charlotte Hornets. I think from the tournament, Stephon Castle's getting a lot of hype, but there's some rumors that Reed Sheppard could stay at Kentucky. We all know that Calipari is going to Arkansas. They brought in Mark Hope from BYU, but Sheppard loves it there. He really does. And if he gets a big NIL bag, he may not enter the draft, but I do like his fit on Charlotte a ton. I like him as an in-between piece between Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball. Somebody that's a smart player, high basketball IQ, can make the extra pass, isn't going to be a drive stopper, isn't going to be a ball stopper, and he's efficient when he can shoot the ball, playing off ball as well, while like Brandon Miller and LaMelo have the ball in their hands. So I'm a fan of Sheppard to the Hornets at 4. The way that this draft pans out, I think like Stephon Castle would be the only other guy I would look at here specifically. I like him more to Charlotte than I do of like a Cody Williams. Before we get back into the video, I want to give a word from today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is by far the easiest way to play fantasy sports. If I'm either going to a game, watching a game with friends, or maybe it's just a random night that I want to make the game that I'm watching a little bit more interesting, I will use Underdog Fantasy. And my favorite part about Underdog Fantasy is their Pick'em game. So you go to the Pick'em tab basically on the Underdog website or app, and you pick whether players will have a higher or lower stat total in that game for a chance to win big. You can pick between 2 to 5 players in your Pick'em entry, and you can win up to 20 times your money on a single game if you get all your picks right. Also, another amazing thing that Underdog Fantasy does for you new customers that use my link in the description is you can get the new customer special. So basically, it could be somebody like Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, or Nikola Jokic, and you just have to say that they're going to get higher than 0.5 points on the night that they're playing. New customers also will get a 100% deposit match up to $100 with my link in the description, and use code SROS SROS. That's SROS. That's a 100% deposit match up to $100. That's a no-brainer. Use my code SROS, and please, like always, remember to play responsibly. And thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring today's video. Or Jacoby Walter at number 5. Okay, I like this. I'm a fan of this pick. I love Donovan Clingan to Portland. I think some of his best fits in this draft are to Washington, are to Memphis, and are to Portland. And I think Clingan could provide them the defense that they need. He'd be a better pick and roll partner, I think, for Scoot Henderson, because Aiden's more of a back to the basket post guy, and Clingan is that for sure, but he's not somebody that's going to demand the ball like Aiden and take the ball away in the usage from their trio of guards and wings of Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson, and Anthony Simons. So Clingan can come right away, provide a little bit more youth, definitely a better defender, I think, right away than DeAndre Ayton is. So I'm a big fan of Clingan going to the Trailblazers at number 5 here, and I think he could be a good fit with Jeremy Grant in that front court as well, because Grant can space the floor. So this gets a 2 thumbs up for me. I like the Shepherd pick a ton. I like the Clingan pick a ton. If Sarr makes it to 3, I like that pick, but I don't think that's realistic. I'm not a fan of Dillingham at 2 over Sarr, and Risache at 1 still. I'm losing a little bit of like momentum on that. So at number 6, we got Nikola Topic going to the Toronto Raptors. I think Topic would be in play at 3, but if Sarr's on the board, yes. I don't like Topic going to Charlotte, and I definitely don't like Topic going to Portland. So if he's going to end up in Toronto, he ends up in Toronto. Quickly could play off ball. RJ Barrett could play off ball. Even Scotty Barnes could play off ball a little bit. And Topic is going to take a little bit of time to develop, but he's somebody that could be a legitimate top 10 point guard in the league if you prioritize his development and develop him in the right way. And I think Toronto would be a good environment for him. He's not going to have super high expectations right away. And if Toronto is able to keep their pick, and the way that this draft is falling, I think it's still like Castle is probably my best player available on the board, and then Topic is right there. So I'm okay with this. To Topic to Toronto at 6. I'm actually a fan of that. I've mocked that before myself. At number 7, we have Matas Buzelis going to Memphis. I think at this point, I would like Stephon Castle here over Buzelis. Buzelis has way too much volatility to go over Castle, and I worry about Buzelis playing off ball as well. Yes, this could still kick out Triple J to the 5 spot, but I don't know how Buzelis is going to be rebounding the ball right away. It's a big thing about his jump shot. He has crazy good motor. He's somebody that's very competitive and is super tough, but he's got to get stronger. He's got to develop an outside shot, because you could see 27% from 3 at the G League Ignite last year. It wasn't pretty whatsoever. At number 8, we have the Utah Jazz selecting Stephon Castle. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I don't think that Utah should probably prioritize a big here, with Taylor Hendricks being a top 10 pick last year. You have Markkanen and Kessler, obviously, and I think there are still some question marks with Keontae George. There are also question marks with Bryce Sensabaugh, for sure, and I don't know how much longer that like THT is going to be there, or Jordan Clarkson. It looks like Colin Sexton is there to stay, for sure, and I think Castle could definitely help this team out defensively, and you could run some fun backcourt lineups with Castle and Colin Sexton. The big thing with Castle and a lot of these guys in this class is their outside jumper. It's big for Topic, it's big for Risache, it's big for Buzelis, and it's big for Castle. Now, Risache is in a little bit of a different tier. He's better than those other 3, and Ron Holland as well, who I'm sure we'll get to in a little bit. Whoever really can develop a 3-point shot between Topic, Buzelis, Castle, and Holland would be like a number 1 overall pick. But none of those guys can shoot, but they all have other good intangibles. Like Buzelis is 6'8" and can handle the ball super well and can make some very tough shots. Topic has great court vision. He's a modern day point guard, 6'6", great size, but he can't shoot the ball. Stephon Castle, one of the best elite wings in all of college this season, and is a phenomenal off-ball player. He can slash, he can cut, he can make that extra pass as well, but he's a little bit hesitant with his outside jumper. Ron Holland, one of the best defenders in this class from the G League Ignite, but can't hit a shot. So yeah, a lot of these guys have a lot of question marks with this outside shot. Cody Williams is a little bit better with his outside jumper. I just worry about kind of his defensive ability. I worry about his ball handling ability, and I wonder if he's going to have kind of the confidence and that shot creating ability at the next level. I don't hate the fit of him in Houston. I think Houston could go some other routes as well if they like maybe a big man here, if they like the idea of possibly going like a Jared McCain for some shooting, but there is definitely more upside in Cody Williams than there would be from like a Dalton Connect. I still like Ron Holland more than Cody Williams. And speaking of Ron Holland, we have him going to the Atlanta Hawks here at number 10. Somebody that's super good at driving to the rim and scoring inside. He's a good rebounder. He's a pretty good passer as well. You could just see 24% from 3. There's a lot of volatility from him from downtown. The shot doesn't look too bad either. It's just he's got to start hitting them to be a for sure top 10 pick. And if he was consistent enough, if he shot like 33% from 3, man, he'd be a top 3 pick, maybe even number 1. At number 11, we have the Bulls selecting Tijon Salon. I don't like this pick. I like them going like a big slash forward rather than them getting another guard. There's just some other guys still on the board that I prefer them to take. Like, you guys know me, I'm a big Tyler Smith fan of the G League Ignite. I would have looked into Kyle Filipowski. Salon's got a lot of development to go, and I don't know if Chicago is the team for him. They fumbled the development on Patrick Williams, and I don't know if they would do much better with Tijon Salon. So I think I would even look at a center here to provide some more competition to Nikola Vucevic if you like a Yves Missi, if you like a Kel'el Ware. I know it's a little high at 11. I would go Tyler Smith if it's the way that this draft went, or maybe even Jacoby Walter as well. But yeah, Salon, I'm not a huge fan of Chicago. So next up to OKC, we do have Jacoby Walter. I'm not a fan of Jacoby Walter in OKC. Like, I'd rather them just get Jared McCain here, just somebody that could be a good three-point shooter for them right away. I'd love Devin Carter out of Providence. I'll say it again, like, they could draft a big, they could draft a Yves Missi, they could draft a Tyler Smith, but Walter has 3-level scoring upside. I think he could be a good defender in this league. There are some question marks with that, but he's a good shooter, and I think it's good value for the Thunder at 12. And at 13, we have Isaiah Collier going to the Blazers. I don't really like the Blazers getting another guard, especially if we like just point guard, because we got to prioritize Scoot Henderson's development. I would even go like Tyler Smith here. It's perfect. You can get Donovan Clingan in that top 10, get Tyler Smith here. You can go Kyle Filipowski as well. You could go Devin Carter, like I just said. You could even go Keyshawn George out of Miami if you really like him a ton. I just think the fit of Isaiah Collier in Portland is kind of weird. And then the last pick of the lottery, we have Dalton Connect to New Orleans. I actually like the idea of Connect to New Orleans now. They do have a ton of wings like that they got to give minutes to next year. Daniels, kind of a combo wing guard. And then you have Trey Murphy, and you have Herb Jones, and you have Zion, and you have Ingram. So I hope Connect would be able to get run on that second unit. I think he'd be a better fit somewhere else, but I think he shouldn't make it out of the lottery. So I'm fine with the Pelicans grabbing him at 14. I would have liked maybe a big, though, for them specifically. Hey, I think Tyler Smith should go in the lottery. All right, next up, we got Kyle Filipowski going to the Sixers at 15. So he's got Filipowski over Zach Edey. I know ESPN loves Zach Edey. CBS Sports seems to be kind of like the norm, like Bleacher Report and everybody else that doesn't think Zach Edey should be a lottery pick. But Kyle Filipowski, I think the Sixers could draft a backup center just because of the question marks with Embiid every year with his health. So I'm fine with that. Filipowski, who did recently declare for the 2024 draft. Jared McCain going to the Heat at 16. That would be a phenomenal pick. I think Devin Carter is probably the typical like Miami Heat guy, but them getting Jared McCain is just phenomenal shooting. They would have McCain, Rozier, Tyler Hero. Pretty good guard rotation for sure next year, and depending where they play Hayward Highsmith out there, and then Duncan Robinson. Yeah, them getting Jared McCain would be huge because I think he's going to be one of the better three-point shooters in the class, and I think he does have a little bit of Emmanuel Quickley in him. Number 17, we got Yves Missi going to the Toronto Raptors. They get Nikola Topic earlier. They get a good rim-running, super tall, lanky big here. That could be the backup to Jakob Poeltl and maybe even be better than him in a year or two. So I'm a fan of Yves Missi 17 here to the Raptors. But if you wanted to make it perfect, it would be Tyler Smith. We got Bobby Klintman to the Hawks at 18. I don't know. I think with like Devin Carter on the board, I would look at him out of Providence just because he provides you a little bit more defensive ability on the wing. But Klintman does have high upside, and I think Atlanta could take somebody in that front court. And Klintman could be able to space the floor with his 6'10 frame as well, if he's able to develop that jumper and be behind maybe Jalen Johnson. But he'd probably be like a G League guy right away. Terrence Shannon to the Suns at 19. You know what? I like that. The Suns, if they run it back next year, they need to keep, and they keep their core together, they need to take somebody that can help them right away. Obviously, like Dalton Connect would be huge. That's why I thought maybe they'd go like Zach Edey, but do they really want to give him all those post touches off the bench? But they do need another big man behind Yusuf Nurkic, but I don't hate the idea of Terrence Shannon. If they went somebody like super raw here, like Daddy Ed, or if they went Ethan Almansa, Johnny Furphy, Keyshawn George, I would not like that, but I do like Terrence Shannon, who could help them right away. Doesn't have a high ceiling whatsoever, but is still a super athletic 3-level scorer. Jalen Tyson, whoa, to the Magic at 20. This is definitely the highest I've seen him. Good shooter out of Cal. I don't think he has a super high upside either. But you know what? With Jared McCain off the board, I think they need to go shooting. They need to add some shooting to this team in the draft, and Tyson could be that guy. Devin Carter, maybe not as consistent as Jalen Tyson, so I do see that. But I think I would go somebody with a little bit more upside like Johnny Furphy here at 20. Ryan Dunn to the Knicks at 21. You know me. Like, I love Ryan Dunn. I love his defensive ability, and him and Tibbs' system would be phenomenal. Yes, he does need to improve that three-point shot, and the Knicks, if they bring back Hartenstein, have two centers and Hartenstein and Robinson that can't space the floor. So then you're going to have some floor spacing issues with Dunn and one of those guys out there at the same time. Yes, he could maybe be your small ball 5, but I probably wouldn't trust that right away. But the Knicks have 2 first-round picks. I'd be perfectly fine if they used one on Ryan Dunn. At 22, we got Zach Edey to the Pelicans. All right, so they keep the Lakers pick there in the lottery, which there are some rumors that they may actually go for that 2025 first, and the Lakers would get their first this year. So the Pelicans end up with Zach Edey and Dalton Connect, two guys that can help them right away. I don't hate it. They need to get a big man. Valanciunas is a free agent. Even if they re-sign him, he could provide some competition with Larry Nance off the bench. And I don't know where his perfect fit is. Like, could it be Toronto? I don't know. Who's going to want to give him the touches where he could be an impactful offensive player? I don't know. But I actually don't hate the Pelicans fit at 22. And it's your second first-round pick. That's what I'd use one on Zach Edey. I wonder if he had Bronny James going in round 1. Devin Carter's in the Cavs at 23. That is a steal. Good three-point shooter, good inside scorer, phenomenal rebounder for somebody at 6'3". I've seen 6'4" as well. Good passer. I used the comparison of Brandon Podziemski. I think that's him. I'm a huge fan of Devin Carter. This would be a phenomenal pick for Cleveland at 23. I'd be a little upset because I'd like him to the Knicks at 24. But I do like Hunter Salas. Good three-point shooter, good combo guard, good ball handle, and I think could run a second unit eventually one day as well, and has great size for somebody that could be the 1, the 2, or even the 3 in some lineups. So you know what? I'm fine with Hunter Salas going in the first round to the Knicks, and I'm glad it's after like Devin Carter. Surprised to see him ahead of like Johnny Furphy. Tyler Smith to the Bucks at 25. Incredible value. I'm a fan of the Bucks going somebody more NBA ready. Like if they wanted to go Khalil Ware here, potentially. But you know what? Tyler Smith, I could talk all day about him and his handle, his outside jumper, his rim protecting ability, his switch ability in the pick and roll, and somebody that I think could just be a really good stretch 5. Could work on the rebounding, could put on a little bit more weight, but I'm a huge fan and definitely would use a top 20 pick, even a lottery pick on him. We have Johnny Furphy going to the Wizards at 26, so they ended with Rob Dillingham and Johnny Furphy. 2 guards here. I like Furphy for them more than I kind of like Rob Dillingham. I'm not a huge fan of Rob Dillingham in Washington, which seems like it's going in a different direction, but I'd rather see like Rob Dillingham in San Antonio. But Johnny Furphy here is somebody with pretty high upside. You got to develop. You have to be patient with him because he's a super raw prospect, but getting him at 26 for a team that is obviously rebuilding next year is smart. 27, Tyler Kolek going to the Jazz. Like, I'd rather see Tyler Kolek in like Minnesota or Boston or even like Milwaukee, but I don't really love the idea of him in Utah. I mean, they're experimenting with Keontae George at the 1. They ended up getting Stephon Castle earlier. I like Tyler Kolek as a prospect. I would take him in the first round, but I guess if they move on from THT and there's like some opening point guard minutes, I mean, you could take a flyer on Kolek, but there's still AJ Mitchell still on the board. Tyrese Proctor went back to Duke, but you could still look at DJ Wagner. You could even look at KJ Simpson out of Colorado. 28, or Bob Carrington, who I forgot to mention. And he has them going to Utah as well. So the Jazz here with 3 first-round picks, ending up with Castle, Kolek, and Carrington. That's a fun draft. Like, Carrington, I think, fits that timeline a little bit more. And I would probably opt for maybe getting, I don't know, a big man there at 27 or just another wing. Like, why not? But getting Carrington at 28, I'm a fan of that. I like Bub Carrington to the Jazz there. Kevin McCullough, 29. I'm actually coming around a little bit on McCullough because I think he's got a high basketball IQ. Low ceiling, but could be like this year's Jaime Jaquez, and him going to Minnesota right away would be a nice bench score for them, and they could use a little bit of offense off the bench as well with Naz Reid in that second unit. And to finish out this first round, Tristan Newton. This is the first time I've seen him in the first round. Maybe the first time I've seen him in the top 40, going to Boston at 30. That's kind of a shocker. Yeah, there's some other guys that I would take over Tristan Newton. I like him as a prospect, and hey, maybe there's a chance he goes like very early second, late first. He was the most outstanding player in March Madness. I'm a little shocked by this. I don't think I would do this with him at 30, but Boston could take somebody NBA ready with McCullough off the board. That could be Tristan Newton if they didn't want to go with the big man. But Khalil Ware's still on the board. I kind of like him here. And there's no second round for this mock, so that is going to wrap it up for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know what you guys think of this mock draft in the comments below. Drop a thumbs up if you guys did enjoy. Like I said, I do have my podcast, Spotify, Apple Pod, YouTube links in the description if you want to get more 2024 draft content. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.